Pet Trails Rock started in 2012. We were 4 guys sitting on Twitter talking about where we could run. I would post a course that you had never seen, and you would post something I had never seen. Sean would do the same thing, Ben would do the same thing, and we decided to sit down and talk about the trails we had never seen. Got together at Red Robin. None of us had ever met, so we actually had no idea who we were coming in. And sat down at Red Robin, started just talking trails, talking runs, talking races, and by the end of the night we were like, dude, we should formalize this. We should turn this into something, and more of a resource. It wasn't really going to be, we were never really planning on being an organization like Trails Rock has turned into. We were going to be a place for all the trails to be listed. Once we got that accomplished, things just kind of took off. We threw group runs, started happening out of nowhere. Ben started putting on a group run. The website launched, got that going. We had a group run on there. We started mapping where the trails were with just little pins on like a Google site, so people knew where the favorite trails were. And then from there, things just kind of took off. Matthew French had put together the original Zero SPF.
Was getting ready to sign up for a road race and realized that I'd done all my training on trails. I'd done a lot of that training with other people on trails, and now here I'm ready to sign up for this goal race out on the roads with nobody that I knew, and it just kind of seemed a weird and foreign thing to leave where I'd really fallen in love that year with trails and being with other people to go do pay somebody else to go do a road race in the blazing sun. So I just figured if I could get 2 or 3 people who would be willing to run some trails and to do a half marathon with me, then I didn't need to pay money to do somebody else's race, and would probably have a whole lot more fun doing it. So I was pretty shocked. I thought, you know, we might get 5 or 6, and it ended up over 20 people that first year.
Yeah, so I've been running the Crescent Trail for 4 or 5 years. I kind of stumbled across it when I started running, I think 2010, maybe fall of 2010. I was losing weight and started running and transitioning from roads to trails. Heard that there was a trail somewhere around Fairport, which is where we live, and just kind of pulled up a map online and found like some crude version of the Crescent Trail Association map, and just started heading out and exploring different sections and getting to know the trail. Had no idea how hilly sections of the Crescent were, especially as you get closer to the canal. My assumption had been kind of that it would be flatter, and obviously it's kind of the opposite of what's true. So, you know, my favorite sections now, and I train quite a lot on the section between Craig Road up to Woodcliff. There's a lot of just really sort of steep rolling terrain up through there, both the main trail and then a lot of offshoots of the main trail. Some are blazed, and there's a lot of kind of like unmarked herd path that runs up through there as well. And, yeah, it's just a fun trail to go out and explore. Always challenging, always keeps you on your toes.
I played around. I figured if I was going to invite people to something that kind of needed a cool name, in the Zero SPF came about. The race I was considering, as I asked people about that race course, they pretty much shared that there was not a lick of shade on the whole course. And one of the things I love about being out on the trails is not having to goop up with sunscreen and all that kind of stuff. Being able to just get out of the car and have your running stuff and be able to run. I kind of played around in my head with different numbers, SPF, but it just seemed more dramatic to say Zero SPF.
That's a fat ass. Yeah, that's about right. It was awesome. It was a pickup half marathon, basically. I actually described it to a couple of neighbors who asked me after I got home from it. They were like, what were you up to out there today? And I said, we were a bunch of friends, bunch of idiots, decided we wanted to run a half marathon on the trails, and we went and we did it.
Yeah, and Ben Murphy had hid some Snickers in a cooler over there too. You know, so real low key, and had really encouraged people to carry their own.
So the first year we did Zero SPF was just a fat ass. We started at Garnsey and we ran out to Turk Hill Road, turned around, ran out to Craig Road, turned around, finished out with a half marathon. The race today has changed a bit from then. We started out with a really crude hand-drawn map that I just kind of threw on a piece of paper, just so people wouldn't get lost, kind of where the road crossings were and where some of the main turns were.
And so he put that together, and it was awesome. It was great. It was simple. And we sat down one night after we were talking, and we said, gee, I wonder if that could be a real race, and what changes would need to happen. So I sat down with Matthew. I said, hey, what are your thoughts on Trails Rock taking the Zero SPF that you had put together and founded and turning it into something bigger for the community? And he was excited. It was something that he would have said he wanted, but would have never wanted to do the work for. So we said, let's go ahead and do it. And all of a sudden, we were no longer just a website with trails listed, we had a race.
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, Trails Rock, even though it was young, had really grown, and I was excited about the work that they were doing. You know, again, I was looking for that distance on trails somewhere close to Rochester, and because there wasn't that as an option, you know, that was where I gathered some people together. So the fact that there was somebody who had great values for what it meant to be on trails and care about the trails, but also had a great value on being in community as we ran. You know, there wasn't any hesitation to hand over what I really cared about over to the Trails Rock crew, because I knew that it would be in good hands, and it also meant that I wasn't going to have to do a whole lot of work on it. So so I was excited all the way around on that.
On our end, the back end, it was nothing short of chaos. We had never put on an event like this before, anything like on that scale. That first year was, I mean, we had to borrow water jugs, we had to borrow tables, we had to take 2 cars down because we didn't have we had nothing that we needed for the race. But we made it work, and as people were crossing the finish line, the number of people saying that was the best event they'd ever run was something we would have never imagined would happen based on the chaos that was happening that morning, and especially the night before. I mean,
when Trails Rock picked up the event and made it an actual half marathon, you know, the section around Turk Hill was a little tricky to navigate, so we met with the Sako Trail people, and it ended up building through a number of volunteers, putting in a connector section that makes the course what it is today. But you know, prior to 2013, none of that was there. It all came together, so that's, you know, the course is pretty well established now, and it's a lot of fun to run.
Trails Rock has got a good reputation for putting on good races, so that was encouraging, and it was obviously something that I supported the first year, so it was interesting to see what would be coming of Trails Rock taking over it. The course changed a little bit, and I was interested in that also. I love that entire trail sections. I like the orange trail to the chair out of McCord Woods from the church. It's brutal. It's brutal no matter how you do it. If you're in the middle of the race at the turnaround, in this case, it's horrible. If you start at Craig Road and you go up it, it's horrible. It's just a brutal hill, and it's a signature of that course, so I like that. It's tricky, it's very technical, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy that a lot.
Say hi, it's my first race.
we had no trailer. We had borrowed about 15 water jugs that we knew we were going to need, so those were there. We had borrowed tables, we had borrowed chairs, we had tents, pop-up tents, course marking stuff. I mean, it was a disaster. We announced right from the beginning that Trails Rock was not going to be making money on any of this. A lot of people love the Crescent Trail, and a lot of people have run the Crescent Trail for a long time, and there's never been a race on that stuff on the Crescent Trail. And so people were excited to get out there and race on the trails that they've been running, knowing that all of their entry fee money was going to go right back into that trail that they run on every day.
For whatever reason, competing on that course didn't really interest me as much anymore, whereas I really enjoyed the course itself, aesthetically, as well as just sort of promoting the course and what Trails Rock's doing, and I felt the best way that I could do that and impact more people to hopefully try to take advantage of those trails and participate in those races was to get out and shoot it.
Zero SPF is cool. I mean, it's gone through a lot of change. So Zero SPF the first year was this kind of chaos thrown together, and then the second year everything sort of worked together. We learned how to put on events. As an organization, we were better at getting volunteers, we were better at course markings, we were better with sponsorships, and now we've evolved so much there is no sponsorship anymore for Zero SPF. Have turned it right back into what it was the first year when Matthew ran it. It's just an event with friends running. We have no prizes. We have no corporate sponsorship. We're going to raise money for the Crescent Trail and for the Victor Trails and for the Victor Historical Society, and we're going to hang out in the woods. When we think back to that first night when we sat down at Red Robin and we were like, let's tell each other where we run. And to see Trails Rock start from that, and now in 4 short years we have a scholarship, we have group runs 4 times a week, 5 races now instead of just the 1. Yeah, so I mean our volunteer work started with just doing stuff to clear the trails at our races. And everyone was like, well, that's awesome because you're helping the trails, and it's grown so much. We develop trails, build trails, clean trails, and once a month during the nice weather season, we're out on one of those trails doing work. And the more work we can do in these parks to make them enjoyable, make them easy to navigate, keep them beautiful, the more we can do that, the more people can realize and fall in love with the trails the same way we have fallen in love with them. I think when they realize what we are all about, they kind of get involved more so too. We've never really struggled with volunteers. We've always had people show up for work days, and I think it's because they are starting to believe in the same things that we believe in. And just the growth in the trail running community in the last 4 years, I can see that continuing. I think people are coming from the roads to our group runs and to our events, and they're saying, wow, that was awesome. And then afterwards, everybody's hanging out at a trailhead. You know, some people are having some cold drinks, some people are bringing snacks, you know, people are bringing their dogs to run, their kids are showing up to run. And the community aspect of what has come out of 4 guys meeting at Red Robin, it's been astonishing to see. And I only see it growing because when people join us and they come out for a day in the woods, they realize just how refreshing it was as opposed to fighting traffic, fighting roads, parking, all that stuff. It's just easier. I've seen groups of people that have never known each other start coming to group runs and become the type of friends that are going on vacation together, that are standing up in each other's weddings, that are
get married to each other,
that literally get married. So we've seen that come out of these groups, and that's a pretty cool thing.